This is gonna be another one of these videos that gets both parties mad. Or, if I had to guess, honestly, maybe this gets the Montreal party a little bit more angry than the other, because today we are heading back over onto Ice Metrics trade proposals slash hypotheticals slash ideas that they've been posting about on Twitter the past few days. Y'all know we're in the off season, baby. It's the middle of August and we've got nothing to talk about, so why not go out there and respond to some mock trades and whether or not this Elias Pettersson Montreal trade package makes sense. This is what Ice Metrics proposes, a Montreal Canadiens mock trade for Elias Pettersson. The Vancouver Canucks would receive Michael Hage, Kirby Dach, Adam Engstrom, and a first-round pick. The Montreal Canadiens receive EP40. Now, I don't know necessarily if Ice Metrics is from Vancouver or not. They have a Twitch account offline. That's unfortunate. But the reason I say that is because if this was a potential trade that could have had any sort of realistic chance of happening, Ryan Johnson, you're an idiot. You should have accepted this a year ago. You should have accepted this yesterday. You should have accepted this the moment the idea became possible. But then again, the reason there was no trade is because this is wildly unrealistic. Like, holy heck. Elias Pettersson, I get that he's a guy that has 100-point potential laying dormant somewhere in that profile of his. I understand that he has the capability to be more than what he has shown off the past few years, but even if you were going to go out there and bet on what could be with Pettersson, if you're Montreal, you ain't giving up Hage. You ain't giving up a first and Hage. You ain't giving up Hage, a first, and Adam Engstrom at the same time. Kirby Dach, say what you want about Kirby Dach. If anything, I'd say that Dach and Pettersson are in a very similar boat. It's just Dach has never had the super high output that EP40 has been able to display at the National Hockey League level. Dach was supposed to be a guy that could maybe get 80 points a season as a first-line center. It's why he was drafted third overall, after all. But this guy, he would essentially just be the roster in, roster out replacement for Elias Pettersson for Vancouver. Hage, Engstrom, and a first as extra pieces coming over to the Canucks? Holy hell, that would be crazy. Michael Hage would immediately become Vancouver's best prospect, and that's fully acknowledging the fact that Caleb Malhotra exists, that I guess it's really just Caleb Malhotra, right? I was going to say Vilander, I was going to say Lekaramaki. I don't think any of those guys hold a candle to Michael Hage right now. Maybe Zeev Buium, if you want to talk about highest ceiling possible. But Michael Hage went out there and had 52 points in 39 games played with the Michigan Wolverines and was a double point per game player at the World Juniors this previous campaign. We've already made it clear from the Montreal perspective, Hage is that second-line center of the future. Hell, courtesy of the Montreal Canadiens, they wanted to make Hage the second-line center of the now. They straight up had a roster spot open for this guy to come on to their Stanley Cup playoff roster, and Hage was like, actually, I want to go back to Michigan. I don't want to play in the NHL yet. Sorry, Montreal. We all understand that the Canadiens, sure, Kent Hughes said the diplomatic thing. It's not like he was going to go out there and say, oh man, I hate this. Like, Michael Hage decides to go back to school? That sucks. Like, Kent Hughes ain't saying that. He's going to publicly back his prospect, of course. But we already heard internally, Montreal, had they gotten their way, they would have been able to sign Hage, and they would have wanted to use him in the Stanley Cup playoffs. He's a potential second-line caliber center now. Think about what he's going to be when he's 23, 24, 25. He's only 20 right now. He just turned 20. He was 19 for the majority of the year where he had these 52 points in 39 games. Hage is one of the top center prospects around the National Hockey League right now, and you're saying that the Canucks could get Hage and Engstrom and a first and Dach for Elias Pettersson, assuming no salary retained too? There's a reason this trade idea has 57,000 views and 136 replies. Let's briefly talk about Adam Engstrom before we get into the conversation that fans are having in the comment section below. Engstrom is 22. He's another one of these defensemen that the Canadiens have that actually has some pretty good promise. Engstrom had 1 point in 15 Canadiens games played this most recent season and 34 points in 45 AHL Laval games. That's a pretty good mark for a guy who had just debuted in North America the season prior. You think about Montreal defense and you think about all the guys they have that happen to be left-handed. From Lane Hutson to Caden Gooley to Matheson to Struble to Xhekaj to Engstrom. And then you have the righties in Reinbacher, Noah Dobson, Alexandre Carrier as well. That's 9 guys that we mentioned for potentially 6 spots open on the Canadiens lineup. Things are getting tight. And Adam Engstrom, it's not necessarily like he's the odd man out, quote unquote, but if you have a left side that already consists of Hutson, Gooley, and Matheson, I think most would generally agree those are the 3 best lefties, then you have Engstrom, Xhekaj, and Jayden Struble who are not playing. And that's where things get a little bit messy because Montreal has too many young defensemen that seem to have potential and that can become something down the line. If Montreal was willing to trade Engstrom and Vancouver's interested in picking him up, I'm actually all for that. Like, Montreal would be helping the Canucks build out a very nice long-term decor, even though you can say it might not be in the Canucks' best interest for development of the guys they already have to acquire another defenseman. We've already seen the Canucks place an emphasis on developing guys like Bouillon, Mancini, Elias Pettersson, and Tom Willander. That's 4 guys right there, balanced out with Schenn, Oleksiak, and Filip Hronek. There's always going to be at least one guy out of playing. So if Adam Engstrom comes over, all of a sudden there's another guy that's going to have to sit out every once in a while. Is that the worst thing in the world when Engstrom is 22, when he's still got a lot of time to develop? No, definitely not. I mean, Mancini's 24. We all understand that he has a lot more to prove at the National Hockey League level as well. But the Vancouver Canucks, they seem to be very delicate with the way they are reserving spots for their younger players, and that seems to be the trend that we've seen up front as well. Kirby Dach, I mean, he's 25. I don't really know if he's young per se anymore. Hage is definitely young. Engstrom is like right in the middle there. Anyways, with that said, let's go out there and just talk about the replies, because I've already said my piece. I think this trade is ludicrous for Vancouver. They'd be getting so much value for Elias Pettersson, and that's without salary retention as well. Top reply from Tyler says, this seems like a lot. Replace Hage with Kapanen, and then I'd do it. The Habs are not going to include Hage in a trade for Petey. Thanks for the quick response, though. You know what? If that was the case, if it was Kapanen, Dach, Engstrom in a first, I think that's still a pretty good trade for Vancouver. I'd do it, honestly. Like, Hage is so good that the idea of him coming to the Canucks is so foreign in my brain. I just don't really think it's all too likely. Some of the other replies go out there and say, are you 12? This is really, really the dumbest trade rumor ever. What are you talking about? Never in my life. I wouldn't even do Hage for Pettersson 1-for-1. Yeah, you know what? I honestly would agree with that. If you're Montreal, you ain't trading Michael Hage 1-for-1 for Elias Pettersson, let alone with a first-round pick, Kirby Dach, and Adam Engstrom. With that said, if you have any better ideas, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. What are your Montreal Canadiens mock trades looking like for EP40 out of the Vancouver Canucks? Let me know in the comment section down below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Sign on, and bye.